There's a new film out now called Homestead that shows what would happen if a nuclear bomb hit the United States, told from the perspective of a couple of families who have prepared for events like this with a fortress in the mountains and a lot of firepower. As violent threats and apocalyptic conditions creep toward their home, the residents discover that the way to survive the end of the world is actually laid out in the scriptures of the Bible. Now, there are a lot of ways a movie with this kind of premise can work out really bad. This is an end of the world film with action and family drama elements infused with biblical elements and has a Christian message. And let me tell you, I was really surprised of how elegantly and thoughtfully the gospel was incorporated into the film. We have of course seen many apocalyptic movies, so the end of the world is something that we as audience members are really familiar with. The last film that comes to my mind was Civil War by Alex Garland, who had a really interesting perspective of a possible futuristic Civil War setting, but had so many weird and kind of weak writing choices, creative choices that in the end didn't make this film worthwhile for me. What makes Homestead right here really a different kind of end of the world movie is that it truly focuses on finding the good in people. This movie doesn't shy away from showing how evil and primitive people can become regular people when they are placed in a life or death scenario. What I really appreciated was that every single time you see one of the characters doing something bad or something evil, it is immediately followed up by their conscience, their guilt, and how they wrestle with that guilt in trying to keep on living, and instead of going down a spiral of bad stuff and evil and becoming evil characters, something we see in a lot of apocalyptic end of the world movies. Truly the best thing about Homestead is how the Christian message was placed into the movie and into the story, because it didn't feel like it was placed on top of the story, but the film organically comes to a Christian conclusion and a Christian resolution because of what the characters are all going through. I love that Homestead used the nuclear war, World War III setting to show how extreme circumstances lead up to a rise in the search for meaning, the search for guidance. We live in a really turbulent world that hasn't reached apocalyptic levels, but this is still what we see happening in culture today. So many of the images we've seen on the news these past few years are so similar to the imagery in movies like Homestead. And I just thought that this movie is a great example of how to do really effective and powerful faith-based storytelling. But there unfortunately are a number of things that don't make Homestead really stand out as a film for me. Even though there's a lot of heart that resonates from the characters, the interpersonal relationships and dialogues, everything does feel really one-dimensional. I mean, it's not just the writing, the film also looks and sounds really bland, unmotivated and basic for the most part. There are certain shots and editing moments that look amazing and other sequences aren't quite there. Some action scenes really feel intense and others feel quite boring. Some of the writing is smart and thoughtful, but there are other one-liners and dialogue scenes, monologue scenes, voiceovers that really feel overdone and corny. So unfortunately, the quality on the creative side was really hit or miss in here for me. But there is one other really interesting thing that makes Homestead a movie worth talking about. The movie is supposed to be a launch pad to a series of the same name by Angel Studios. And I mean, I haven't seen anything that's quite like this hybrid movie, feature-length movie and TV show approach like they are trying to do right here. So I think that's really exciting and interesting. I just love how Angel Studios are not only pushing the boundaries when it comes to faith-based Christian storytelling, filmmaking, but that they also want to take that new kind of approach into everything they do, even coming down to the things like distribution and marketing. They have this amazing paid forward program where you can buy somebody else a ticket to see the new Angel Studios films in theaters. So Angel Studios not only makes really interesting movies and series, but the whole presentation, I think, is just amazing. So please look into their homepage. Homestead is actually the second Angel Studios production that I've seen after Sound of Freedom. And I gotta tell you, I can't wait to see more. Alright guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much for your time and attention watching my review right here. I wish you all a blessed day and hope to have you back in my next video.